So how's practice been this week? Obviously, it was a difficult loss over the weekend, but how have the guys responded in the last couple of days?
Well, it's kind of what you just said right there. Our whole thing is we need to regroup and we need to respond. That's been, my message to our guys. And I think we've taken it to heart. Guys are, focused. They're working like we want them to work. I think they're taking in the information that we're giving them. And that's what we want to see. And we want to see continued improvement. And I see our guys competing every day and getting better in that area.
How do you feel team chemistry so far into the season is?
We're getting there. As you know, like I said, it's going to be a process. As more guys come online, as we start to, get more practices and games under our belt, it'll just get better and better. But I think for a team that has as many new players as we've had, I think we've done, a good job, or they've done a good job of connecting with each other at a good level at an early stage. So I think it's going to improve. I don't think our chemistry is bad.
Johnny, when you come off a loss like that, I mean, is there a way, no one wants to lose, but is there a way you can utilize that maybe as you move forward through the season to maybe learn from it and kind of grow as a team?
No, absolutely. Great question. I think you can get better, of course, from that experience. I think right off the bat, I was always taught this as a young man. This is about not just basketball, about life. I've always learned that the toughest lessons are the lessons learned. And so a loss is a tough lesson in our profession. It's all about winning. And so those are the times that you learn some of your biggest lessons. Some of the things that you may have gotten away with in some of your wins that were close wins for us and that we're coaching and teaching about, now come to fruition when you may know same situations and you don't overcome it. And so now you learn that lesson, like, yeah, we were talking about this. We were saying we have to do better at this area, whatever it may be. But now that sting of what just happened, I think, makes it stick a little bit better for guys. And you always hate to, find out that way. Like I said, it's always better to learn from some really good close wins we've had. But sometimes, you're going to get beat. And when you get beat, I think those are tough lessons. And those are usually lessons that are learned.
Having a lot of new faces on a roster, it's not really unique to UCF. It's happening nationwide with the portal and everything. So you see a lot of upsets early this season. What's kind of the most difficult thing when you have a lot of new faces and establishing an identity, getting that chemistry together? It seems like a lot of schools kind of go through the same thing in November or early December, just trying to get cohesive.
Well, I think that's what we're all working toward now in this new era of basketball with the transfer portal and rosters almost completely turning over. So you're going to have some of that. But also, Brandon, you're going to have just the parity that you have now in college basketball. Let's not underestimate just everyone has good players now. I mean, it's no longer what it used to be because of the portal. You can regroup and get a lot of guys from that portal that can all of a sudden change your roster immediately. And so what happens is, you look at any team and you start looking at the names on the front of the jerseys. You do that. That's to me, it's a dangerous way to look at the game anymore because the names on the front of the jerseys don't matter as much as they used to. It's who's on your roster at that point in time. And right now, I think you're seeing that all across college basketball. As you mentioned, I follow it just like you do, and you look at some of the games and you go, wow, what happened? But I don't think it's no longer a surprise anymore. I think it's more or less understanding everyone has talent and everyone needs to be out there, be ready to go out there and put their best foot forward, or you can be upset.
It's been a common trend that Jaylin Flores has been pretty much the leading scorer every game, and then players are far behind. How is prepping to get other guys involved offensively going?
Well, I think, Jaylin has done a terrific job, thus far in the preseason. And he's been our leading scorer, and he's been one of our go-to guys. And we want him to continue to be in that role because he's earned it. And, as other guys start to get more comfortable in their roles, I think you'll see other guys start to emerge and start to get more contributions offensively. There are guys who, to me, really haven't reached their full potential yet offensively for us. And that's okay because a guy like Jaylin, he has. And but like I said, throughout this race, it's a long season, and I think other guys will start to emerge as we move forward and contribute at a higher level for us offensively. And as we start to bring more guys online, as I mentioned before, I think you'll start to see more guys that can contribute offensively play for us as well.
Did you see when you were scouting Jaylin, recruiting Jaylin, did you see that potential? I mean, to be able to kind of step up and be that go-to leader when it comes to scoring on the offense?
Well, we brought him in there for that role. We brought him in here to be one of our offensive weapons, and he's proved to be a very good one. Now we couldn't predict, he'd be averaging 20 plus points a game when he was averaging 14 and a half where he was before. but we knew he had the potential to be an explosive scorer for us. Now, could we get that, to click? How long would it take for it to click? Can we get it to click? We don't know that, but we knew that he had the potential to be able to go out there and contribute at a high level. And, fortunately, he's been doing that for us, early in the season.
DeMar Langford Jr. did not play. He was out of the lineup. Any reasons for that?
He's been battling an injury, and so he's recovering, and hopefully we'll get him back soon. But again, that's one of our older players, a senior who has missed the last about 3 games or 4 games for us. And so as he starts to get healthy, I think he'll make a good contribution because of his experience that he's had. He's a starter at Boston College and ACC for a number of years, and I think he can provide a lot for us. And that's just scoring in basketball, but with his, his overall feel for the game and experience he's had at playing at this level.
How would you assess the early season for Darius Johnson?
I think Darius has had some ups and downs, early part of the season, to be quite frank. I think he's had some good moments for us. I think he's had some moments where, we can see where he can continue to grow. He's been a player for us through the preseason, through the summer, our trip to Europe. He's had a really good summer and really good fall for us. He's shot the ball extremely well. He's run the team. And those are the things that we want to see him continue to do. He hadn't gotten off to that same type of start, thus far, in the preseason. But, I think we all are confident in him and knowing that he's capable of doing it because he's always shown he can do it for us. And so now it's just a function of him getting out there and, just playing the way we know he's capable of playing. I think some of it's coming around for us with his turnover and assists. I think you're starting to see that starting to turn, right away right now. I think the same thing's going to apply offensively for him because he's a capable scorer and he's knocked down big shots for us this summer. He's knocked down big shots for us this fall. And so for us, it's just a function of him just finding his way. But his teammates are confident in him. We're confident in him. And I think he's going to make it happen for us.
Johnny, how are you guys still working on your rotation? I mean, is this kind of the time period where you guys do that, working to see which guys work in the best kind of groupings when you come off the bench?
Absolutely. Right now for us, because you have a number of new people in your personnel, we're trying different combinations. We're seeing, we're using analytics because we can pull up numbers on which combinations play better on the floor. But when you have a small sample size, it can sometimes be misleading. So right now through 6 games, it's a little misleading. We get to about another 4 games or so, around a third of the season, we'll have an idea, probably a little better idea, even though we have some now. But yes, absolutely. We're looking at our rosters. We're looking at our rotations, which combinations play the better together, all things we're doing numbers-wise, and also by feel. I do it by both. So we're trying to get a good gauge for, what's the best, lineups we can have out there on the floor together and which lineups we want to avoid having on the floor together.
Talk about Marcellus Avery and what he's provided. Obviously, he missed the first couple games waiting for the waiver, but he's been in the lineup the last 4 games, I guess. Just what has he provided for your team now that he's eligible?
Well, he's played for us. What he's provided for us, he's another weapon. He's one of those guys we're talking about, a capable scorer that can, take some of the load off of a guy like, Jaylin, because he's put the ball in the basket consistently pretty much his whole life. For us with him is continue to bring him along in our system. He's playing a little catch up because he missed those first games, but he's starting to round into, who we think he can become. He didn't have a great night the other night from the field, but he's a guy who's a threat offensively from behind the arc. He can put the ball on the floor, as you've seen, and can make plays at the basket. And his is just, getting more comfortable with us and getting more comfortable at our level. But, we're confident that he's a guy that can help us in the scoring area as well.
C.J. Walker was a guy who voiced frustration mentally and physically during his time not being able to play last season. How is he coming along now, and how is he doing mentally?
Well, I think he's, because of what he's gone through, and I hate to say this for any young person, it's kind of what we talked about earlier about tough lessons, a lesson learned. Now, injury is not a tough lesson because it's an injury, but you learn from it though. And so he's been in that situation multiple times now. So me watching him this year, go through his recovery as opposed to years past, you can see it's his mindset and his approach is different because he understands that he's already lived it already, so he knows what he wants to do. He knows how to attack his rehab and prepare himself. And that's what you see, with experience. And so for him, I hate to see a young man get that type of experience because there's injuries experiences, but I think having gone through it, I think this time around, the way he's approaching it, he's approaching it in a way that I think he's going to mentally and physically, get through it and come out on the other side, better from what he's had to go through.
A couple weeks ago was early signing day, and you signed KJ Green, one of the top players in the country, top 100 recruit at point guard. Just tell us more about KJ and what kind of stood out to you when you started the recruiting process and seeing him being a part of your future Big 12 team.
Well, a really good point guard. He plays with really good pace. He changes speeds real well on the court. Really good defender with his length and ability to sit down in the stance. And he's a good leader as far as with his teammates and making guys better. So we're very excited to have him. Definitely as part of our program. I think he comes in because of his length. He can play multiple positions for us. He can be on the ball. He can be off the ball. So not only does he help us at the point guard spot, but he also helps us with versatility in the perimeter with another good guard.
And I guess Saturday you got Lipscomb. Do you have an early scouting report or what you expect from those guys on Saturday?
Another really good basketball team, as we just said before. Different than South Dakota, Charlotte, Stetson. Everybody has good players. They're averaging like 84, 85 points a game for the season. And they're experienced. They have a lot of guys back from last year's team, so they know each other, well coached, and I know it'll be another tough challenge because they know how to play. They've had success. They're a winning program, and we need to prepare for them, the right way. Like I said, for us, it's the same thing I said to our players. For us, we need to make sure we regroup and we need to respond, and that's how we have to approach it. And I think the first way you do that and the best way you do it is to respect your opponents. Like I said, names on the front of jerseys means nothing in this day and age. It's who you're playing against, player for player. And they have a lot of talented players, and they'll come in here confident, and they'll come here ready to compete.
So Darius, how's practice been this week? Obviously, it was a shocking loss on Sunday. How have the guys responded and regrouped after Stetson?
Practice has been very intense. I feel like we picked up our level of intensity. A lot of high emotions going around right now, so we're just trying to stay focused and keep building.
So far into the season, how do you feel on your performance on offense and defense?
Obviously, there's room for improvement. I'm not shooting the best field goal percentage right now. My turnover ratio isn't great, so I've been getting with coach, watching a lot of film, seeing areas, still learning my teammates and ways I can get them open and get them the ball. So
I asked Johnny just a little bit ago. Can you? No one wants to lose, but can you take something from that loss on Sunday and use it maybe to kind of help motivate you guys as you go forward? Do you guys feel like there's something you can learn from that loss that you can kind of keep pushing forward to get better?
I feel like in every loss is a lesson. I feel like we can't play the name on the front of the jersey. That's for one. We had to take every opponent seriously, and we had to follow the scout. Our scout was no threes, and we gave up 13 of those. So I feel like moving forward, we just had to take more pride in defense and learn from it.
Still, a lot of new guys on the team. Being the point guard, how do you feel with team chemistry and facilitating the ball right now?
I feel like it's going pretty well so far, but we're still learning each other each and every day in practice. We added new guys, and we still have new guys coming along. DeMar's been out of the rotation, but he should be back soon, hopefully for us. And Twan should be getting his waiver pretty soon, so we're just trying to flow together and practice and gel well.
From an offensive standpoint, are things flowing well, or are you still trying to find your groove out there? Where can you improve from that aspect?
Me personally, being the point guard, I got to try to find a way to get my scorers involved first. My big man, because they help me out a lot. So I feel like I have to look for myself last. And I feel like me, it's a little bit different coming from being in high school where I was carrying the load all the time. So it's a role that I'm learning to embrace. So.
As that floor general, when you see a guy like Jaylin, get hot and he's hitting threes and stuff, how does in your mind does it click in where you want to make sure you get in the ball and make sure he gets his touches when he's going hot shooting?
Oh, for sure. That's definitely my main goal. Once he gets going, I definitely got to feed the high hand. But also me being a little bit aggressive too, it will take the focus off him, and maybe they'll start helping on me more to get him more open looks instead of having to take tough contested twos or tough threes. And people are hanging on him for tough shots. So.
What do you know about Lipscomb on Saturday? You talked about not paying attention to the names on the front of the jersey, but do you know much about those guys you're going to be facing?
We haven't went over our scout yet. We'll probably begin that tomorrow, but we know they're similar to Stetson and shoot a lot of threes. And we know we have a target on our back. Being in our Power 5 school, we can't take any opponent lightly.
It felt like late in the game, that's when intensity stepped up. How do you plan to get that intensity going more early on?
I just have to bring it from the jump. For me, it's going to start off defensively. Staying engaged defensively is going to be my offense. So for that, it's just being the head of our defense and making sure I'm down in the stands, do whatever my team needs me to do.
You feel like, and that sets the game in the first half. Do you think maybe you guys kind of took the foot off the gas a little bit? You got off to a lead, and you really maybe could have put them away at that point. They were able to rally back towards the end of the first half. Do you think that maybe was the difference in the game?
I definitely think that's the difference in the game. You know, there's so many possessions down the game where you could have picked here and there what was the difference, but I feel like building a lead is something we're still learning as a team. So going into practice is something we're working on.
You talked about learning, with you guys being in this rotation. I mean, when you guys start tweaking rotations and moving different guys in and out, how difficult is that for you when you've been here all the time, but you're also trying to figure out who's going to be where and what, and when you're looking at those kind of situations?
Just being in practice. In practice we play with a different group of guys each and every day. So really just knowing who's going to react in certain situations and know the best situation to put the guys in on the team. Being the point guard, I have a lot of responsibility on both ends of the floor. So I just have to figure that out and learn that through watching film and talking to coaches.
Marcellus Avery's obviously been available for you guys the last few games. What has he provided? What kind of player is he? He's been able to score a little bit, obviously.
Obviously, he's providing a lot of scoring for us recently, and I feel like he hasn't shown it much yet, but defensively I feel like he's going to be very good for us. He's long, he's agile, and he can guard multiple positions. So, moving forward, he'll be great for us.
What do you say to C.J. Walker? He's been through this process, unfortunately for him, multiple times with having an injury and wanting to come back. I know there's hope that he can come back at some point, but just kind of how has he been doing through this whole process of trying to get back from another injury?
CJ's actually progressing very well. We're just trying to keep high energy for him, positivity, prayer, especially number one, and just help him get through a tough time. It's 2 years straight now for him being in this situation, so I know it's tough mentally. So really just keep praying over him and keep positive energy around him.
All set?
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks,
CJ.
Darius. Jaylin, I think you were congratulations, you were the co-newcomer of the week, I believe, Big 12, isn't that right? Yeah, so just kind of reflect on this early season. I know you're not happy about the result the other night, but overall, I mean, would you say you've had as successful of a start as you possibly could have had here at the UCF?
Yes. I think I'm starting out very well, which I'm happy for. But I want to win. I want to win.
It's
to be honest, but I most definitely got out to a good start. That just goes thanks to my teammates and coaches for trusting me to score the ball and put me in the right spots.
How has practice been after the loss?
It's been very intense. We picked up on our defensive errors that we had, like far as competing more in practice and getting after no matter what day it is, no matter how we feel. So I feel like right after the practice after the game, we competed, and today we competed as well.
Jaylin, did you know going into this season that even though I know it's early on, but that you did what kind of, I guess, changed? What clicked for you in the first 6 games? What do you feel like you've done your best?
What I think I've done the best is probably rebound. Just finding other ways to stay engaged, because in the past, it's been like if my shot's not falling, I kind of fall off with everything. So this year, I'm just trying to stay engaged with everything, whether it's that defense, going to get a rebound, or getting a steal or anything like that.
So you're saying your all-around defensive game is coming around? Is that due to the coaching here? I see Coach Dawkins emphasizes defense heavily. You think that's where you've seen the most improvement?
Most definitely been defense. I still got some things that I need to work on, but my defensive appearance most definitely been better. As far as my help defense, I still got to work on, but everything else, just learning the game more and learning like certain plays is when it's gonna come. When you see it so much that you'll know what's going on, so that helped me a lot. Just being in the film room with my coaches.
Obviously, you've been very dangerous scoring the basketball. Some guys have not gotten to that role yet, have not found their role on the team. Once they find that role, how dangerous do you think you guys can be?
I think we're going to be very dangerous. I think we're coming to that moment where everyone is kind of figuring out their role and knowing their role, and everyone is playing their part. Now, all we got to do is just put it together every night, consistent basis. I think we showed glimpses and clips of what we can be, but we have to do it more consistent, put 40 minutes together.
After the loss of Stetson, you were saying you guys didn't follow what Coach was saying. Any more thoughts, any more specifics on that?
Yeah, we just got to follow the game plan. I feel like we listen to what he's saying, but we don't apply it all the time on a consistent basis. We applied it at the beginning of the game, but we kind of fell off when we went on that run and they came back and fought back.
Do you think there's any leaders on the team that have a specific role, like to try to get the team back on the game plan, or is it like once it goes out of control, it's just trying to find your flow again?
Right now, most definitely we do. Those guys that we look to lean on is DJ, of course, and Shamar Allen. They help us out and try to dial us back in. You know, they're the head of our train right now, so we just have to listen to what they're saying when they bring us together, and we'll be fine.
What about you from a leadership standpoint? Is that something, and as you get older, guys are going to be looking at you like they're looking at DJ and Shamari? Is that something that you're looking to develop this year?
Most definitely. I got better at being more of a better leader, but I kind of just leave it up to them unless I have to step in. You know, right now they need me to step in with them, so I help time to time. But like far as a vocal leader, I got to get better with that because that's more what they do. I'm more of just try to lead by example. But recently I've been trying to talk a little bit more, you know, because sometimes I could go missing.
Do you guys feel like your communication is getting better as the season goes on and you get more guys kind of involved and everything? Is that improved maybe since from early on?
Most definitely have improved from what we used to be, but it can be way better. It's still not where it's supposed to be at our communication on defense, communication through screens and things like that. So we still gotta help the helper.